Company Private Limited. So, welcome everybody. So, we are again gathered together like last time, and we are going to discuss about zero export device, or what we also call as DGPV sync. Last time we covered the part where the DGPV sync was cutting off the power, so which we call as sole con. And now today our discussion is going to move ahead. Anybody who has not seen what are the products that are required for lower than 10 kilowatt, I suggest that they go and visit our other video whose link we will give below, and that is for ZED exclusively. But today we are going to talk about a product which is called as Sole Sync. It is a synchronizer. It is a proportionate controller. So, and again, like last time, we have a team of solar installers with us here who you will not be seeing, but they are here. And whenever you have a question, you can interrupt and you can ask me, but in a loud voice so that everybody can hear. So, if I ask anybody, why do we need a solar synchronizer? DGPV sync, why is it required? So, let me make one thing clear, that DGPV synchronizing happens automatically. We do not actually do synchronizing. Actual synchronizing is done automatically. What we do, if you ask anybody in the market why they buy it, is for protection of DG set, right? That is why most of the people will say that we need to buy. But is that the only reason? Or can there be more reasons? Or are there some reasons by which a EPC can really benefit? So I'll go into those reasons first. First reason, a solar EPC can increase their size of business. And how they can do it? Because normally when you design a system, solar system, PV system, you take the minimum load capability of the client and design your whole system around that. If the client has minimum load is 100 kilowatt, you don't put in a 200 kilowatt system, right? So you design it around the minimum load, and which is not right. You should go and get more business by increasing. If the client has a roof which has 200 kilowatt capability, go and install 200 kilowatt. And whenever there is a peak, that can be curtailed by our system. And it is not that the 200 kilowatt will be wasted. Maybe the curtailment will happen at the peak hours, but not at all of the time. In the mornings, in the evenings, except for maybe 2 hours in the peak time. Rest of the time, it will be, your client will be benefited. So you can actually sell a higher rating solar power plant to your client if you use Sole Sync, DGPV sync, right? So that is one way solar EPC is benefited. The second way the solar EPC is benefited is that we are going to run DG at only 30% of the capacity, which means that the client is saving 60, 65, 70% of power generation, which was to be done by DG. Now it will be done by PV. DG will give you approximate 23 rupees per unit. That is the rate of power coming from DG. Whereas if you go for solar, it would be like 2 rupees approximately. If you look at for 100 kilowatt PV, solar PV plant, and you consider 1 hour running of DG every single day, your client for a solar EPC will be saving something like 7 lakh of rupees every year. That is the amount that he will be saving every single year by using a DGPV sync. So that is another reason how you can get more business, a solar EPC can get more business, or he can increase the size of his business or get more profitability by using this product. Then you can get more business, a solar EPC can get more business by choosing which DG to run with solar power plant. If your load is low, you run a smaller DG. obviously the client must have multiple DGs, and most of the times you'll find client has a 50 kVA, 125 kVA, 180 kVA. I have seen where clients have up to 10 DGs in the same location. So by this SolSync, what you can do is when your load is lower, you can run the lower DG, thereby your consumption is down, and when your load is higher, it automatically moves on to the bigger DG and so on. So that is another way. When you sell this to your client, you save money. You enhance the value proposition that you are giving to your client by doing this. Another way you can actually enhance the value that you are giving, EPC is giving to the client, is auto start and auto stop of DGs. So the power goes off, the DG automatically, the signal goes to DG to auto start, synchronizes with PV, and the load is run. And then once the power comes back, it automatically senses it, cuts off the, stops the DG and changes the power onto the grid. That is another elimination of manpower. So even if your DG operator,
is this feature available in same DG PV sim box, or
the same feature, you're right, is available on our standard DG controller, which is SolSync. It is available. Okay.
And what if customer doesn't want this feature?
Then he doesn't use the feature if he doesn't want it. Not an issue at all.
ये उसी बॉक्स में रहेगा तब ये feature.
Yes, the feature will be available.
Okay.
So we enable the feature or disable the feature depending on the site locations. But the feature is available. So imagine the client is eliminating more manpower. He can use the same manpower. And if the manpower is a little lazy and they are switching off DG 10 minutes late every time, so he's saving 10 minutes of DG power, which is very, very costly. 23 rupees, 2 rupees. So it's a huge saving. So that is another way how a solar EPC can impress his client, that he's giving them value. And today what sells in market is value. That's it. If you cannot deliver value, if you cannot differentiate yourself from every other installer, then the only bargaining is for price. Then you have to give me the L1. And obviously that is, nobody earns money like that. Nobody increases. And then how do you enhance the value? How do you enhance the industry? How do you make the industry grow if you do not introduce more features? How do you become international? Give that international quality class unless you have these features with you, right? Then you can help reducing the costs. And how do you reduce costs? For example, RMS is included into SolSync. The cloud is included. And why do you need a RMS? You may say, I already have the inverter guy gives me RMS. The problem is that the inverter has only one communication port. At least most of them have. For example, Schneider has 2 ports, but that's a different matter. Most of the inverters have only one communication port. And if you have one communication port, either our SolSync will communicate with it, or else your RMS will. But we are giving you options since we are already accessing the data in the inverter. So we will extract the data and throw it onto the cloud, display it to your cloud. So you are reducing your cost, it is built into it, right? So that is another advantage. One of the key factors that has come up recently is that end clients are asking for performance guarantee, generation guarantee. That you have to tell them that I will be producing X number of units per year. That is how your quality is being judged by end client. But if we are curtailing power, if you are not synchronizing with DG, then your generation goes down. Yeah. If you synchronize with DG, then what happens is that the power that is curtailed is not displayed normally. But with our system, you will see how many kilowatt hour, how many units of energy has been curtailed, which you can add to your generation data. The meter will show, ECDV meter will show, let's say 1000 units, you add to it 20 units, so your actual generation is 1020 units. So that is enhancing value, right? Then there is another advantage which most of the people don't realize. A solar EPC can actually tell his client that I will be directing your power, the curtailed power, to a designated load like battery charging, water pumps, any load that has to switch on at some point of the time. We switch it on when the curtailment is required. So instead of curtailing power, we are increasing the load. And if we increase the load, then you don't need to curtail. So your batteries can be, for example, charge. I know a client who is charging batteries for 80 forklifts. 84. He has huge set of battery banks, and he's charging by curtailing power. That's a good way of using this power, right? It's a win-win for everybody.
Okay.
So this is what we say. These are some of the other reasons, and there are many more. I can go on, but these are some other reasons how a solar EPC can generate more business, deliver more value to the client, differentiate themselves from any competition, get more profit, right? So I was saying that the Solcon device earlier was up to 10 kilowatt. 10 kilowatt and above, we suggest going for SolSync. That is what we are discussing today. So are there any limitations to this SolSync device? Is there a limitation of distance? One inverter is here, another is, let's say, 200 meter away, another is 500 meter away, another is kilometer away. We have done DG-PV synchronizing where inverters were 2.3 kilometers away. The spread of inverters was 2.3. From the first to the 79th inverter, the distance was 2.3 kilometers, and yet we were able to do it. So there is no limitation of distance. Is there a limitation of inverters? I don't know. We have done up to 79 inverters, but I'm sure if somebody gives us 200 inverters also, I'm sure we'll be able to do it. Not an issue at all. We are not limited. SolSync is not limited by the number of inverters, right? Is there a limitation of DGs? No. We have synchronized up to 10 DGs. The DGs were synchronized with each other and then synchronized with the solar PV plant. So there is no limitation on the number of DGs also. Not an issue at all. Is there a limitation on the voltage of the DGs? No. You can do up to 415 volts, you can do up to 3.3 kV, you can do up to 11 kV, 33 kV, 66 kV, and I think we may also have done some work on 132 kV. So there's no limitation there also. Is there a limitation on what inverter it works on? Not an issue. Any make of inverter, we have already done almost every kind of inverter make in India that is available in India or is imported. It has been done, proven successfully since 2014. But any new make also, any change in the existing inverters is also incorporated, and it is possible to synchronize with the inverters. So there are absolutely no limitations, and this product is stable. The design life of a SolSync is approximately 10 years. So it is going to be there for a very, very, very long time. Now, most of the times, client will say, "Oh, is it very complicated to install?" So it really is not. It's a very simple piece of equipment. So it constitutes of only 4 elements: a dedicated controller housed in an enclosure with a DC supply, with communication SPD, with power SPD, properly wired terminals, some indication lights. That is part 1. Part 2 is the communication cable, RS485, fiber optic, or any other communication cable. Third is multifunction meters, which will be there on the grid, ACDB, or on the DG. And fourth is the software that we built into it, that is our programming input into it. These are the only 4 components which constitute a SolSync device, right? So what are the key quality points that you must look out, that a solar EPC must look out when you are selecting your DG-PV synchronizing? So because it has to last. Your plant is going to last 25 years. Your warranty is for mostly of 5 years. That is the standard warranty, right? So this product must at least have a warranty of 5 years. So make sure that whichever supplier you select gives you a warranty of 5 years. And if he can, that shows the confidence he has on his product, right? Then what about post-warranty support? If post-warranty support is available and you're sure of it, good. If not, then you need to question. And one of the key questions is also, how old is the company from which you are buying? If the company is 2 years old or 3 years old, can they give you a warranty for next 5 years, 10 years life? Can they really? Do they have a base installed base where they can show that our products are working for past 10 years, 15 years, 20 years? So a company must be at least 20, 25 years old to give you a product which can last for 25 years, right? Then the enclosures, are they CPRI approved? CPRI is how you test whether the product is compliant to BIS. Government of India has not made it mandatory, but how do you, the EPC, judge the quality? They can only judge it if somebody third party has inspected. Government of India, CPRI labs, if you get it tested for IP65, IP54, short circuit test, temperature rise test, that is how you know whether the product is good, tested by a third party. Is the remote monitoring included? That is another way to check. These are some of the key quality points we are talking about. Then is it a total solution, or somebody is giving you one controller and telling you, boss, इसमें power supply लगा देना, and you put in a cable here, you put in multifunction here, you do the programming of multifunction meter yourself, and then once everything is ready, give it to me on remote. Or is somebody going to go out on a limb and saying, I will take the complete responsibility and deliver you the end product? So that is, you need to visualize. Is it easy to troubleshoot? I mean, it's a product after all, and any product, any electronics, it doesn't go off so easily, but there is a possibility. In that possibility, if it has gone bad, how easy or difficult is it to troubleshoot? Does it give you an indication that there is a problem with the power, or is there a problem? Is the controller itself working or not? Is there a indication, easy indication for you to see? You may have a 5-year warranty, but if it is not working right now, you don't want to call up the supplier and tell him, send somebody over, and he takes 2 days to come over. If you know, for example, that there is an indication which is telling you that CT of the multifunction meter is not working, then you know even a common electrician can go and correct that CT problem. Is the communication cable bad? If it can tell you that, if the product itself can convey that information to you, then it is valuable information. You don't lose any downtime. You are buying a protection equipment. If something goes bad with it, your DG crankshaft can break, or your alternator can burn, there can be a lot of damage, and who knows what else. So it is important to have something that is easy to troubleshoot, has a lot of displays. And then let us suppose you wanted to change parameters. You wanted your generator to be synchronized not at 30% but at 40%. So do you have a load? Can you bring in your own laptop without calling in the supplier, connect it to this SolSync device, and a screen pops up and you are able to change the parameters and look at how it is performing? If you can do that, that is a good way to go forward. And if the controller fails, which it could very well, even though the life is 10 years and warranty is 5 years, then what is the reputation of the company? Are they good service providers? Will they adhere to the commitment that they have given? If yes, then it's a good way. So these are some of the parameters how you check quality of a SolSync device, a DGPV sync device. This is more or less what I had to say on the subject. If there are any questions, please feel free.
Just this DGPV sync or soul sync or sleeving, they're one thing only, right?
Yeah, these are different words that I
Names.
use. Somebody will say it's a sleeving device.
Right.
Somebody will say it's a power curtailment device. Somebody will say it's a synchronizing device. Whereas I'm making it clear, there is no synchronizing done by anybody. The solar inverter today has a built-in facility of synchronizing with the DG. Unless your DG range is going out of the frequency range is going more, or the voltage range is going more or less. If it is within the given parameters of inverter, it is auto synchronized. So anybody who tells you we are doing synchronizing is misleading. But these are all various,
Names
words,
of the same
names of the same equipment. There is no difference. Anything else? Okay. Thank you very much. Bye.